You know that feeling when you are trying to learn a new physical skill and you finally perfectly nail it?
Oh, yeah. Like when you're at physical therapy or something.
Right, or maybe you're just struggling through a challenging yoga pose,
Mhm.
or honestly, just trying to fix that terrible hunched over desk posture we all naturally fall into.
Yeah, the classic desk slump.
Exactly. And you make this tiny, like almost microscopic adjustment to how you are sitting or standing, and suddenly it clicks.
Hmm.
You feel incredibly strong. You feel aligned, almost weightless. The pain just vanishes. And you think to yourself, I've got it. I have finally cracked the code on how my body is supposed to work.
It is the best feeling. But then,
But then you go to sleep.
yeah,
You wake up the next morning, you try to do the exact same movement, and the feeling is completely gone. It's like your body has total amnesia.
it is such a universally frustrating experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend all this intense, conscious effort finding exactly the right alignment, and you leave feeling victorious.
Right.
But by the next day, you're right back to square one, feeling clunky, restricted, and totally disconnected from your own limbs. It feels like a massive failure of muscle memory.
It really does. It feels like you've somehow broken a promise to your own body overnight. Well, for this deep dive, we are looking at a truly fascinating biomechanical and neuroscientific document.
Yeah, it's really incredibly detailed.
It is. It's all about something called interoceptive and deep body awareness, which is basically how you internally sense your own mechanics. We're going to look at how we transition from these isolated, fleeting sensations into a unified sensorimotor system.
Which is a lot more complex than most people realize.
Absolutely. So, our mission today is to decode the secret language of your nervous system and to discover how your body actually learns to move seamlessly as one cohesive unit rather than just a bunch of clumsy parts. So, okay, let's unpack this.
That frustration you just described, the sensation that vanishes into thin air, is actually a perfect entry point because it is a fundamental part of the biological learning
Oh, wait,
process.
really? So it's supposed to happen?
Yeah, exactly. When you begin any kind of serious physical exploration, you are essentially at the very beginning of a long neurological journey.
Gotcha.
In this early phase, you start to notice isolated, highly specific points in your body that you probably ignored for decades.
Like what?
Well, you might suddenly feel the exact contraction of a deep hip muscle, like your iliopsoas, or you might finally sense the deep parachute-like drop of your diaphragm when you breathe.
Oh, right.
Or maybe you notice the subtle engagement of your pelvic floor, or even just how your body weight distributes unevenly to the soles of your feet.
So you're kind of isolating the variables of your
Oh,
anatomy.
exactly.
It makes me think of learning to listen to the individual instruments in a giant symphony orchestra.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Like when you first sit down in the concert hall, it's just a wall of sound. But if you practice, maybe you train your ear to just hear the oboe
Mm-hmm.
and you zero in on it and think, wow, there's the oboe. It's so clear I can hear every note. And then you shift your focus and you find the cello. You can hear them perfectly in the moment, but you aren't actually hearing the symphony yet, are you? You're just hearing a collection of solitary instruments playing in the same room.
That's spot on.
But I guess my biggest question here is, why is it so fleeting? Why do practitioners constantly complain that they can feel it one day, but later it disappears? If my brain found the oboe yesterday, why on earth can't it find it today?
Well, this raises an important question about how the brain actually organizes and stores physical information. You see, the sensation hasn't actually disappeared.
It hasn't.
No, it hasn't been lost at all. Your diaphragm remains your diaphragm. Your foot remains your foot.
Right, the anatomy hasn't changed.
Exactly. The physical structures and the nerve endings haven't vanished. The real issue is that these new sensations are being stored in your brain entirely independently of one another.
Oh, I see.
Because they lack any real connection to the broader mechanical organization of your body, your nervous system has no unified model to hold on to.
I'm trying to visualize that. So it's like my brain creates a file folder for foot sensation and a totally separate file folder for diaphragm movement,
Yeah.
but there's no master blueprint that connects those two folders together.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it. The body has not yet formed a unified internal map. It goes back to your orchestra analogy.
Right.
You might know exactly how to play a beautiful note on the oboe, but if you don't know the time signature, the tempo, or what the rest of the string section is doing, you can't join the song.
You're just making noise at that point.
Precisely. Your nervous system is highly efficient. If a piece of sensory data like that great feeling in your foot doesn't have a clear mechanical relationship to the rest of the body, The brain essentially labels it as irrelevant background noise when you stop consciously obsessing over it.
Wow.
The sensation exists, but it lacks biological context.
Okay, so hoarding these random sensations clearly doesn't work. If my foot and my diaphragm are stuck in different neurological folders and my brain just keeps tossing them out because they aren't connected, how do we actually wire them together? How do we build the symphony?
What's fascinating here is that true physical integration is not about acquiring more and more new sensations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is a trap a lot of people fall into. It is actually about forming meaningful physical relationships between the sensations that already exist.
Okay, that makes sense.
The research we are looking at walks through a very specific biomechanical chain reaction to illustrate exactly how this works in the human body. Let's trace it from the top down, starting with something simple, breathing.
Well, I breathe every day, so hopefully I can follow this. Walk me through the mechanics.
Let's look at what happens when you take a proper deep breath. The diaphragm, which sits like a dome under your ribs, descends. Now, this movement doesn't happen in a vacuum. Your torso is essentially a closed cylinder. So when that dome descends, it physically compresses the organs below it, which immediately creates a change in what we call intra-abdominal pressure.
Right, so if my torso is a cylinder and the top is pushing down, the pressure inside has to go somewhere. It's like pressing down on a water balloon.
Yes, exactly. And the bottom of that water balloon is your pelvic floor.
Oh, gotcha.
Because of that downward pressure, the pelvic floor has to naturally engage and widen to bear the load. Now, here is where the mechanics get really interesting.
I'm listening.
The pelvic floor is intimately connected through connective tissue and deep fascial networks to your deep core musculature, specifically the iliopsoas muscles.
Okay, the psoas.
Right. These are the thick, powerful muscles that run from your lower spine through your pelvis and attach to your upper thigh bones.
Oh, wow. So they are the literal bridge between your upper body and your legs.
They are. And because they share this fascial and neurological connection with the pelvic floor, when the pelvic floor engages from your breath, it mechanically signals the iliopsoas to adjust its tension.
Just automatically.
Yes, it's an automatic response to stabilize your core.
Let me make sure I'm getting this sequence because it's wild to think about.
Go for it.
I take a breath, the diaphragm drops. That pushes the pressure down, which engages the pelvic floor.
Correct.
And because the pelvic floor and the psoas are physically interwoven, that engagement tells the psoas to tighten up and stabilize my lower spine.
You've got it. And the chain doesn't stop there.
There's more.
Once that iliopsoas adjusts its tension, it profoundly stabilizes your hip joint, sitting the ball firmly into the socket.
Okay.
And once that hip joint is properly seated, the mechanical force of your body weight translates straight down the bones of your leg in a totally different way.
Which changes the foot.
Exactly. It fundamentally alters how the sole of your foot supports your weight against the floor.
That is incredible. It is a literal physical cascade.
It really is.
From a breath in my chest all the way down to how my foot hits the floorboard, it's like a set of dominoes falling.
And the most crucial part of this cascade is that once this specific chain is built and recognized by your nervous system, activating just one sensation automatically evokes all the others.
Because they're connected now.
Right. They're no longer in separate folders. If you just focus on grounding your foot properly, that upward force naturally influences your hip stability, which engages the pelvic floor, which ultimately supports your spinal organization all the way back up to how your diaphragm moves.
Because they are mechanically linked, the individual sensations just trigger one another. You don't have to consciously micromanage 6 different body maps anymore.
Exactly. You aren't forcing the alignment. The alignment is a natural consequence of the system working as a connected unit.
Okay, I love this, but I have to pause here. I'm actually a little confused by something the document emphasizes.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if you look at modern wellness culture, whether it's yoga or sports coaching or mindfulness, the universal advice is always, get out of your head. Stop overthinking it. Just feel your body.
Ah, yes. The classic advice.
Right. But the research here explicitly states that pure physical sensation alone is usually not enough to produce this kind of complete permanent integration.
No, it's not.
Why is that? Why do we actually need our brains involved if the body has this mechanical domino effect built into it?
It's a very common misconception that deep physical awareness should be a purely unconscious, sensory-only experience.
Okay.
To explain why the brain is so critical, the material outlines a framework we can think of as the triad of learning for physical integration.
The triad of learning.
Right. True mastery requires three complementary components functioning together: biomechanical principles, direct bodily sensation, and cognitive understanding.
So the theory of how the body works, the physical feeling of it working, and the intellectual grasping of it.
Precisely. If you just have two of the three, the system fails to integrate.
Give me an example.
Sure. For example, theory without experience just remains intellectual trivia. You could read a thick anatomy textbook on how a foot strikes the pavement, but that knowledge alone won't make you a better runner.
Right. Knowing the map is not the same as walking the territory.
Exactly. But on the flip side, and this addresses the wellness trope you mentioned, experience without understanding often remains completely fragmented.
Like just feeling it without knowing why.
Yes. You might be in a yoga class, quote unquote, out of your head, and suddenly feel a massive release in your hip. It feels amazing.
Oh, the best.
But if your brain doesn't understand why it happened mechanically, you can't purposefully replicate it tomorrow.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The brain naturally wants to organize information. It absolutely craves meaning and causality.
It does. And this leads to what we can call the cognitive catalyst, the aha moment. Imagine you are practicing your posture, and you physically feel that exact chain we just talked about. The diaphragm descends, the pelvic floor responds, and suddenly your hip feels noticeably lighter and more mobile.
Okay, I'm feeling it.
In the past, maybe you just enjoyed the feeling but then lost it. But this time, your intellectual understanding catches up to the physical sensation.
It's that moment where the light bulb goes off and you say, oh, that's why my hip feels lighter. Because my breath stabilized my spine.
Yes.
The physical feeling perfectly aligns with the mechanical logic you just learned.
Yes, exactly. And at that exact, precise moment of cognitive recognition, something magical happens in the nervous system.
Yes.
Those scattered, independent sensory figures suddenly reorganize into a single internal model. The brain essentially says, these aren't random events. This is a reliable mechanical system. That realization often marks a massive leap in whole-body integration. It's a continuous loop. You physically experience the body, you understand the underlying principles of what you just felt, and then you return to the physical experience with a much clearer, much more accurate mental blueprint.
I love that. You're basically upgrading your body's software through intellectual understanding.
That's a great analogy.
It's not about turning off your brain at all. It's about aligning your brain's logic with the body's physical reality. But if that's the case, we have to talk about the absolute worst, most confusing part of this entire process.
The plateau.
Yes, the dreaded plateau. Even when you get that aha moment, even when you run this perfect learning loop between sensation and understanding, people often hit a massive, frustrating wall.
They really do.
You'll be moving with these highly efficient, beautiful new mechanics for a few weeks, and then out of nowhere, your body just seems to sabotage its own progress. You wake up and everything feels clunky, restricted, and heavy again. Why on earth does our own nervous system seem to punish us for getting better?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we find what is arguably the most surprising and profound insight in this entire exploration.
Okay, I'm ready.
You see, the human body rarely develops its capabilities evenly across all areas at the exact same time.
Right.
Often, one specific region of your body advances far ahead of the rest of the system because of the focused work you've been doing.
Like the foot from our earlier example.
Exactly. But the golden, unbreakable rule of the central nervous system is this: the body optimizes for the whole, never for the individual parts.
Okay, the body optimizes for the whole. I need an example of how that actually plays out in real life to cause this kind of sabotage.
Let's use a biomechanical scenario. Say you've been doing a ton of focused structural work on your lower body. You've really dialed in that aha moment, and suddenly your foot mechanics improve drastically.
Nice.
Because of this new alignment, your legs are suddenly producing remarkable power. Your stride feels effortless, and you're pushing off the ground with incredible force that you've never had before.
That sounds fantastic. I want that.
It is fantastic locally. But here is the critical problem. What if your trunk, your core muscles, your spinal stabilizers, your ability to manage abdominal pressure hasn't developed at that exact same accelerated rate?
Oh.
What if your trunk lacks the deep structural organization to actually absorb and manage all that explosive new power coming up from your newly efficient feet?
Oh, man. I see where this is going. All that kinetic energy being generated by my legs doesn't just disappear.
Nope.
It has to travel somewhere up the chain.
Exactly. And if the muscular organization of your trunk isn't strong enough or coordinated enough to handle that kinetic force, that excessive load bypasses the muscles entirely.
And goes where?
It shoots directly into your lumbar spine, into the joints and the discs.
Ugh.
Yeah. If left unchecked, that becomes a massive risk for severe discomfort or even a debilitating injury. A single body region cannot fully express its capability unless the entire global system can support it safely.
So the limiting factor isn't the foot anymore. The foot is doing great. It's an overachiever. The limiting factor is the capacity of the whole body system. It almost sounds like, okay, bear with me.
I'm listening.
Imagine you have a 5-year-old computer, and it's running a bit slow, so you decide to upgrade it by buying a blazing fast, state-of-the-art new graphics card.
Okay, I like where this is going.
You plug this amazing new piece of hardware into your old machine, expecting incredible performance. But your older motherboard simply cannot handle the sheer volume and speed of the data transfer coming from the new card.
Right, there's a bottleneck.
Yeah. If the computer actually tried to run that graphics card at maximum capacity, it would generate so much heat and data that it would literally fry the old motherboard and destroy the whole machine.
Ooh.
So, to prevent a total crash, the computer's basic operating system artificially throttles the speed of the new graphics card down to a sluggish level that the older parts can safely manage. Is that what my brain is doing to my foot?
That is an absolutely brilliant analogy, and it is exactly what your nervous system does. To protect itself from structural damage, the nervous system actively abandons the highly efficient local movement.
Wow.
It deliberately suppresses and restricts the performance of your strongest region, the foot, until the rest of the body, the trunk, can catch up to the new standard.
Which perfectly explains why that good feeling suddenly vanishes. From my perspective, as the person stretching on the yoga mat or trying to walk with better posture, it feels like a failure. It feels like I've lost my progress and regressed.
But from the nervous system's perspective, it is a highly intelligent, beautifully protective organizational strategy. Your brain is actively sacrificing local excellence to guarantee global stability.
That's amazing.
Simply put, it will not let you tear your lower back apart just so you can have a powerful foot strike.
That is so humbling, honestly. Your own body is protecting you from the dangers of your own localized success.
Yeah, it really is looking out for you.
But it begs a very natural and very urgent follow-up question. Do we ever get those lost abilities back? Is my metaphorical graphics card throttled forever?
We absolutely get them back. In the stages of neuromotor development, this is just a necessary waiting period.
Oh, thank goodness.
As your trunk organization finally improves over time, as your spinal alignment, your diaphragmatic function, and your deep muscular coordination naturally catch up to the advanced state of your lower body, those previously discovered isolated sensations begin to naturally reemerge.
Because the motherboard has finally been upgraded to handle the data.
Exactly. And when they return, it's entirely different. That movement that once felt powerful but perhaps a little unstable or risky suddenly becomes both effortless and safe.
That's the dream.
This is a phenomenon so many dedicated practitioners experience. You make an amazing isolated discovery in your body, feel it intensely for a day or two, mysteriously lose it, and then months or even years later, it suddenly clicks back into place permanently.
So it wasn't a fluke.
No, not at all. It wasn't that your earlier sensation was wrong or that you failed. Your body just lacked the global structural conditions necessary to support it at that specific time.
So all those early, frustrating fragments finally get incorporated into a larger, stable whole.
Exactly.
Which brings me to the ultimate goal of all this physical exploration. What does it actually feel like when this process is complete? When the unified model is finally built?
In the ultimate stage of integration, your conscious attention completely shifts away from monitoring individual body parts.
Really?
Completely. Yes, you no longer have to stand there and consciously think, okay, engage the pelvic floor, drop the diaphragm, check the pressure in the feet, adjust the hip. The act of breathing, standing, and walking, they no longer function in your brain as separate mechanical elements to be managed.
They just become a single, fluid, coordinated event.
Yes. Activating one single component naturally and organically organizes all the others without any conscious effort on your part. You don't recall each sensation individually anymore because your body's internal network activates as a unified, integrated sensoromotor architecture. To go back to your very first analogy, you aren't desperately trying to play the individual instruments anymore. You are just the symphony.
That is beautiful. So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
Well, a lot of things.
Right. If you've ever been frustrated by your own physical progress, whether you're an elite athlete hitting a plateau, someone recovering from an injury in physical therapy, or just someone trying to live with a little less back pain at your desk, the takeaway here is incredibly freeing.
It really takes the pressure off.
It does. Physical exploration isn't about collecting new, isolated sensations like they are trophies. It's not a checklist of body parts to conquer and micromanage.
Hmm.
It's about patiently building an internal network where every single part of your body supports every other part.
And beyond the biomechanics, it is a powerful lesson in giving yourself grace. When a physical skill seems to mysteriously regress, or you lose that perfect feeling overnight, don't get angry at your body.
Right. It's not failing you.
Exactly. Recognize that your system is highly intelligent. It is just protecting you while it integrates the new data.
Which leads me to a final thought I want to leave you with. We've spent this entire deep dive looking strictly at biomechanics, muscle memory, and the physical nervous system. But the underlying logic here is so incredibly universal.
It really translates to everything.
It does. If your nervous system actively suppresses your localized physical excellence just to protect an unprepared larger system, where else in your life is this happening?
Oh, that's a great question.
Right. Think about it in your career, in your creative pursuits, in your financial goals, or even in your personal relationships. Is your brain secretly throttling your success in one specific area right now simply because your broader emotional or psychological spine isn't quite ready to carry the heavy load of that success?
Wow. That's a lot to think about.
Maybe that feeling of being stuck or that frustrating plateau you can't seem to break through isn't a failure at all. Maybe it's just your system prioritizing your global stability, waiting for the rest of you to catch up.
Absolutely.
Just something to chew on the next time you feel like you've lost your progress. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.